Merry Meet Annie here. I have some thoughts about Mabon and the fact that it is arriving, what it means to me, what this time of year means for me. It's my favorite time of year. I'm dangerously close to telling the truth on it. You know, if you follow my videos, that I start every video about the quarters and cross-quarter holidays by saying it's my favorite holiday. I'd be hard-pressed to say Mabon in actuality is not. It is indeed my most favorite. I love the winding down, the release of busyness, things to be done, goals to be met, accomplishments. And the way I live the cycle of the wheel of the year, I give that over at Mabon. I literally burn that which I need to leave behind in my Mabon ritual. I'm going to do a separate video about what I'm going to do in my ritual this year. But part of what I do every year is I burn leaves that represent the things that I have taken time. I'm in the middle of that this week. I journal about it every night to prepare for the ritual. The things which I want to leave behind. They may be things that as I came into Imbolc last year and was making plans, moving through this year of the things I wanted to accomplish, they may be things that I realized I either could not accomplish or did not want to accomplish or did not need to accomplish. So I look over goals and expectations and decide there are things which will live on. I will carry them into the next turning of the wheel, and there are things which are not meant to be carried forward. I love when I was taught this technique for this time of year, I love the no-guilt release of things which just must be released. There's a freedom in it. It can be a very challenging activity to take on because, we make hard decisions. If we live the wheel this way, this turning of the wheel is a difficult one. We make hard decisions to cut things off, to end things, to decide you're past, you are behind me, I'm moving away from. It could be a situation, it could be a relationship or a person or an activity. Sometimes the decisions are very, very difficult. But the freedom that you think it over well, you know what you remain devoted to and will take with you through the next turning of the year and into the next year, and that there are things which must be addressed and left behind. The shadow doesn't keep hanging over your head. The lesson of the turning of the wheel is deal with it. Know, is it something you will take forward? Is it something that remains on your mundane or spiritual to-do list? Is it something you need to address in the sense of ending, terminating, and you're hesitant to do that? Coming to this turning of the wheel every year, when you live the wheel this way, means you clean house. You clean house. I often see that this kind of activity is part of folk Samhain activities, where at the new year they are getting rid of old intentions and offering up hopes for new intentions. That's not been part of how I have experienced the wheel. Because to me there is a clearing out as we enter the quiet time of the year, which is an important part of entering the quiet time of the year. It's like packing light baggage. You don't go into it with more than is required. You lighten the load before you step over the threshold. That is Mabon. Very important part of what the holiday is for me. And of course, the holiday is always thinking about the god and the goddess of Wicca for me, and what they mean at this turning of the wheel. Goddess is very much still she who mourns. Our Lord has moved into the underworld where he reigns until Yule. And in my relationship to who they are, she's left behind. She's left behind. She who is eternal is actually left behind. She continues going and she continues being, and we continue seeing her in all her faces through the months, through the days even, and the way she soldiers on. But she's faced great loss. She's she who mourns. And it ties into the fact that, using the lesson of it's a cycle, and this is what happens, and it turns around to this every year come this turning, is we do mourn. There are things we need to leave behind spiritually and in the mundane sense. But we are continually, like the goddess, moving forward in the cycle of our year, in the cycle of our life while we are here. It is about movement. Mourning, dealing with endings is part of that. She has a lot to teach us about that. She keeps going through this difficult time for her. Now, the Lord of the Underworld, I embrace him at this time of year. There's something that one of the charges, I think probably one of Doreen's charges, but maybe not, I don't remember which one particularly. There is talk about the fact that because he has lived and he has died, when our time is done, he's there to receive us because he knows what it was like to live fully and therefore embrace the beauty of the ending of that when our time comes, because every year he re-embraces his death. And therefore, when our time is over, he's been there. In the cosmic sense, he's been there and done that over and over through eternity, and he understands. And what he teaches us at this time of the year is about death, small passings. Again, the things that end in order for us to truly fulfill the lives that we are here to live. Without these deaths, these small passings, we limit ourselves. It's like we come to a stop and we don't move forward. And he knows, in the cycle that he lives and teaches us through, that it is about growing and changing and evolving. It is not about standing still and refusing to take on the actions and the responsibilities of our lives. That's how I see the two of them this time of year. I know that there are some of us who see them joined in the underworld. I don't go there. I have needed to keep them separate in my mind because I embrace that there are times in our lives as individuals that we have complete worlds that are our own. We do not always have to be in a conjoined world. She didn't have to be with him in the underworld. She can choose to be with him, but she doesn't have to be with him. He's permitted kingship over that domain. And he becomes very powerful for me at this time of year because of that. And the other aspect, of course, of the holiday is community, what we are in community. I always think of the holidays as the gods and the goddesses and what they teach us at the level of psyche and psychology and knowing ourselves, what they mean about community and our relationship to others and the very land we live on and what that means in the turning of the wheel. And when it comes to community, for me, this turning of the wheel takes me into my cave time. Now, in my cave time, which is through Yule at least, usually I'm a slow comer outer of the cave. I kind of like start the coming out in bulk. Not so much Yule. The reason? I love the quiet times. I love plenty of time to read, write, study, just sit and be if I want to. I like the months that aren't the busy months. I love the freedom of not plotting and planning. I will do none of that until after Samhain. I just love the being. To me, it's not an anti-social time, but I won't make social commitments. I won't busy myself with the tasks of community at this time of year. I will do the things I enjoy doing, but I won't take on responsibilities to community for a couple of months. It's like becoming the maiden again. It's an interesting two things at once. It's the time of year we're honoring the crone and the sage in all of us. But at the same time, the taking on of quiet is as it's about me. I'm going to glory in this. I'm going to do what I want to do. I've gone through the hard work, the shadow work of deciding at Mabon, what am I going to release and leave behind? And then I've got like this beautiful space, empty space. I'm going to fill it because I owe the next turning of the wheel being productive and being involved and growing and maturing. But I am permitted to be a maiden. I am permitted to be whole unto myself, do things for myself, please myself, and be with myself at this turning of the year. The crone will make her presence known, and she will make it clear to me when I have to give over that to, okay, get serious now. There are plans to make in the turning of the new year. But I glory in this freedom and this release of owing to anyone for a couple of months, except myself. The challenge is I owe myself. This is not a time to fritter. This is a time to be with myself completely and know that I'm accomplishing something by doing that. The other part about Mabon to me is the season. The beautiful, beautiful season of fall. We had a drop in temperature, 20 degrees a week ago. It has been cool. We're under the covers at night, and even then it's cool, and the wind is coming through the windows, and the curtains are dancing, and the dogs are growing their thicker hair again, and there's clouds, dramatic and beautiful clouds in the sky, because it's fall, and that's what the sky does in fall. The leaves have only just started to tinge, and looking forward to the sounds of rustling leaves and the beautiful smell of dirt and decay. It's kind of the complement and the opposite too. In the springtime, when we first smelt the dirt coming alive, when it was frozen no more and we smelt the moistness in it, and now at the other end, we're smelling the death in it, and it is equally as beautiful. My thoughts on the personal side to Mabon, the things we take on at the level of psyche, the lessons the God and Goddesses teach us. What is community to us at this time of year? To me, it's more about socializing than owing responsibility to. I'll be with you and laugh and enjoy your company, but I'm not going to commit myself to a lot of activity that's formalized in some sense. And then at the end, it's about the beautiful change in weather. Humidity dropping out of the air and the sound of the geese flying overhead and clouds, beautiful, beautiful clouds, kind of like heavy over top. And the changing of the ground and the changing of the trees, changing of clothes. As the dogs are growing their new fur, being able to put on some clothes that have some more substance to them than the summertime clothes. I love this time of the year. I just love it. I love it. I love it. So Mabon, that's my thoughts on what it means to me. I wish you the freshness, what a fresh start the darkness can be. I wish that for you at this season of Mabon. And I wish you mirth and reverence. Merry part.